The 2025 season nearly upon us. It's time to put our names on the line. San Francisco 49ers season predictions. Who's going to win the division, win-loss record, Super Bowl MVP, rookies of the year, and with none other than the Winkstradamus with us on today's Locked On 49ers.
You are Locked On 49ers, your daily San Francisco 49ers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On 49ers. Brian Peacock and Eric Crocker with you as always at BD Peacock at Coach Crocky. Thanks everybody for making us your first listen on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Love our everydayers. Thanks for hanging with us all off season. It's all paid off. The season begins right about now. And if you're new to the program, welcome. Hang with us. Subscribe on YouTube and everywhere you get your podcasts. And let's talk 49ers every day through the rest of the season that hopefully lasts into February. We got a lot of football for a lot of Sundays now to come in a row, which I am super excited for. Super excited about today's show as well, which is brought to you by Mazda. Just like there's more to every player, more dedication, more attention to detail, there's more to a Mazda vehicle. And stay tuned later in the episode for the Moving the Game Forward as we project what's going to happen here in 2025. And now let's bring on today's guest.
Nicholas Winkler, come on down.
Can't believe it.
Can't believe it, Wink. It's almost here. What an episode for the Winkstradamus. We've got to get into our predictions and what we think is going to happen. I do want to relay some important information, though, to the listeners, guys, because there is a brand new unofficial depth chart. So this might impact things as we pick wins and losses, looking at this football team, which suddenly looks a lot healthier going into the season. I like seeing Juwan Jennings' name out there with Ricky Pearsall as potentially the starting wide receivers in week one, and a healthy Christian McCaffrey and a healthy George Kittle, a healthy Dominic Pooney, right? You start to feel a little bit better about how things come together on the offensive side of the ball. As we look at this depth chart, though, does anything stand out to you? I want to start with special teams because no shocker who the kicker and punter and long snapper are, because there's only one of each of those guys on the roster, even though Thomas Morstead had to take a little detour to get back on the roster after the 53. I'm looking at kick returner is Isaac Guerrero, who's now basically the number 3 running back, and then Sky Moore as the punt returner. Does anything else stand out to you guys here in this unofficial depth chart going into week one?
I think for me right away, it's, Marques Sigle being a backup, which obviously, you assume the 49ers kind of give the nod to some of the veterans, Jair Brown, Jason Pinnock starting at the other safety position, Siren Neal. He's a versatile piece that's more of a special teams guy, but Marques Sigle, a guy that we thought, played well in preseason, probably still has a little bit of learning to do to get up to speed with where the veterans are, but that's a guy I definitely would keep an eye on by midseason.
Yeah, for me, I think the biggest surprise is behind Pooney there, Drew Moss. I know he had a great camp and looked good in the preseason, but Pooney's coming off of an injury here early on in the season. So if he's got to get out of the game, is Moss really going to be ready to go, and step right in and be ready on this offensive line? I sure hope so.
And here's the thing, if it's not Moss, it's just going to be the other rookie in Connor Colby.
Yeah, right. Either way.
Potentially, Matt Hennessy's played guard in the NFL, so maybe he's just the first guy up, whether it's center or guard, just because you have that veteran player. That's kind of the thing here with there's probably not a lot of shocks on this. And again, this is unofficial. This might be a little bit different, but the veterans win out here as far as the unofficial depth chart goes with D Ford, who's going to, D Winters, I always want to call him D Ford. D Winters we knew he's going to start at the Will spot. You got Luke Gifford at the Sam. You got Jordan Elliott and Clea Davis, the 2 veteran defensive tackles starting at defensive tackle. And then, of course, as Croc mentioned, Jair Brown and Pinnock over Marques Sigle there at the safety spot. But we'll see if those things really hold true, because again, this is unofficial. This is the PR department that puts this together. The coaching staff might have some different things written on whiteboards at somewhere in Santa Clara, California. So we'll see what it actually looks like in week one. And since we have Nicholas Winkler, who, if those of you listen to this podcast, the everydayers know, we don't talk about last year. There was injuries that were a big factor in last year's picks. The Winkstradamus had the most ridiculous run of correct picks in the 2023 season that we have ever seen. So we're going to let Nick take us through this. How do you see this season going down?
Real quick, I think we have to refresh the listeners because we probably have a lot of new listeners from 2 years that between now and 2 years ago. Essentially, you had the 49ers starting out 5-0.
Yep.
Then you had the 49ers losing 3 in a row.
Mm-hmm.
Then you had them going on another run. And it was just one of the wildest things ever because you look at the 3 games you thought the 49ers would lose. It was the Minnesota Vikings, the Cleveland Browns,
yep,
and the Cincinnati Bengals.
The one I got the most pushback on was that Browns game. Everyone was like, they're not going to lose to the Browns. I'm like, it's in Cleveland. It's going to be tough.
Yeah, you're like, it's going to rain. Brock Purdy can't throw in the rain.
Someone's going to get hurt. And yeah, sure enough, I think 2 guys got hurt in that game. It was wild. I think I got my first 12 picks right or something. That was crazy.
Yeah.
You didn't get one wrong.
And it wasn't you predicting the games as they were happening. It was at this time, before the season started, you said the 49ers would win their first 5 games, including beating Dallas Cowboys in week 5, and then lose the next 3, and then win, and then go on another run. I think where it fell apart was maybe the Baltimore game. I think you had the 49ers beating Baltimore, and obviously, as we remember, they lost that game and so forth. But it was an incredible run, and the fan base was actually pretty upset with you because you correctly predicted 3 straight losses, and they said it's all your fault.
Mm-hmm. And it was. And last year I was a little injured too. That's why my game was off. I'm feeling good this year. I'm ready to go. I'm healed up. Yeah, let's do this.
Yeah, Wink couldn't even golf last year. Just a bad year all around. Let's forget that one. Throw that one in the trash and get back to the Winkstradamus picks. All right, then Wink, we'll let you take us through every game here. Then Croc and I will not go every week, but we'll just give us our win-loss totals and what we predict for the 49ers, and we'll look at rookies and some other things here. So I'm going to put the schedule on the screen as well for those folks that are watching on YouTube. So take us through it. We got week 1 coming up Sunday at the Seattle Seahawks. How do you see these games going down, Wink?
This might have been the toughest one for me to pick out of all 17 games, to be completely honest with you, because it's week 1. You know, we're hoping Juwan Jennings is going to be ready to go. We're hoping Trent Williams, Pooney, all these guys that were such big question marks heading into the season. Well, they're all supposed to be a go for this game, but it's in Seattle, which is a tough place to play all the time. All that being said, 49ers are going to win this football game. I think they're going to go out there. They're going to start the season right, go 1-0, feel really good. It's going to be, I think Nick Moody's going to come out there, kick 4 or 5 field goals, kind of hush everybody down a little bit. And the 49ers are going to start things off right.
That would be a hell of a kicker celebration is to drop the hush.
Yeah. Don't do it at home, though. They might not take that so kindly.
That's true. Although you can't tell the boos from the Moody's.
That's a good point. He could just think, oh, they're mooing me. They're not booing.
That's right. All right. Week 2, New Orleans Saints.
Trap game, 100%. You're going across the country. You got that 10 a.m. start. Yeah, you're thinking, oh, this is going to be easy. You look at the schedule. Saints, trash. This is the easy win. I think this is actually going to be an L for the 49ers. One of those wake-up call games like, oh, maybe they were smelling themselves a little bit too much after week 1. Yeah, went in a little too confident to New Orleans and going to get beat. It's going to be close. It's going to be one of those come from behind things. But, yeah, I see them losing week 2.
I have a hard time seeing them lose to Spencer Rattler.
Agreed. Everyone will. That's why it's going to be called a trap game.
Yep. Yeah. Got a good point there.
Wow, trap game.
Wink is on fire.
Week 2 trap game for the 49ers after a big win on the road at the Seahawks. So, hey,
back-to-back road games.
Yeah,
back-to-back road games is tough to start the season, especially when you got to go cross-country like that. After playing a division rival.
2 of the toughest, 2 of the biggest advantages for home stadiums, too, in Seattle and New Orleans.
That place gets loud, especially if they find a way to win week 1 or something. Let's not forget what New Orleans did last year. Right? They started off 2-0 or 3-0 or something, and they had like the number 1 offense in the NFL. Everyone's like, oh my God, the Saints. And then it all fell apart. But
he dropped 40 points on somebody in week 1, and then Clint Kubiak got fired.
Yeah.
Later on. It's like that's all I got, guys. All the tricks, I showed them all in week 1. I have no extra stuff.
Right.
All right. So we're 1-1 here according to the Winkstradamus after 2 weeks. Let's get through the rest of the schedule. We'll predict Super Bowl winners, records, rookies of the year, and such. next. This episode of Locked On 49ers brought to you by Mazda. Mazda is moving the game forward, brought to you by those who believe it's not just about playing the game, it's about redefining it, because these moments do more than win. They push what's possible. They remind us to go the extra yard, shift into that extra gear, and keep moving the game forward throughout the season. We'll talk about some of those defining moments in the games. No games yet. So what's the defining moment? It's staying healthy. Not only Wink, we're talking about the 49ers being healthy, getting back to that Winkstradamus run, that run in 2023. That is what keeps fans and players alike moving forward. And already the 49ers looking a lot more healthy than they were just a couple of weeks ago in training camp before week one. So we're chasing that next great moment here in week one as the 2025 season is upon us. So when you follow what moves you, the unexpected is only the beginning. And just like there's more to every highlight, there's more to every Mazda vehicle. Mazda, move and be moved. Today's episode is also brought to you by Supply House. When the opening whistle blows on a new repair, get your crew moving forward. Supply House. Order today and see parts on your doorstep tomorrow. Over 280,000 plumbing, HVAC, and electrical items from the most trusted brands in the business. Their real-time inventory and honest lead times keep you from punting projects. And, you know, as much as we like to talk about punters on this, you don't want to be punting projects, and you don't really want to be punting the football, do you? While their industry-leading customer service always has your blind side covered. Need parts fast for a project? Supply House has next-day delivery. The part finder tools and 3D schematics can save you hours on jobs where every detail matters. So join the free Trademaster program today and score serious perks like priority shipping, lower prices, and a dedicated support line. Visit supplyhouse.com to sign up for free and use promo code SHCollege5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. Real people, real service. All right, Wink. 1-1 after 2 weeks. I'm sure some 49ers fans are out there waiting with bated breath because you got a couple of division opponents coming up, and you already got a big L on the schedule that nobody expected. Croc is flabbergasted over here.
Good. That's what we want. I mean, to be honest, I probably lost half the listeners already. They're probably already cursing my name. Let's see if I can get them back. At least a few of them.
They know there's a win streak coming. They know there's a win streak coming.
Definitely a win streak coming. Yeah. And here's a mini one that starts right here. You got home opener, wearing those throwback whites. Got the Cardinals coming to town. Divisional opponent. I see a win there. And starting off 2-0 in the NFC West. So hopefully that cheered everybody up right there.
Nice. Then you got the Jacksonville Jaguars week 4 and another division opponent. 3 out of the first 5. It's the Los Angeles Rams in week 5.
Yeah, Jacksonville, again, a team that's kind of trying to figure it out. You know, I think that the 49ers are going to put 2 in a row together at home. Beat Jacksonville handily. I think this is going to be the easiest game of the year up to this point, and really look dominant, right? Really just look like, okay, we're those guys, right? We're them. But then you got to go on the road. Albeit it's to Levi's South. It's not that big of a journey, but it's on a short week. You're looking at a Thursday night game at LA against the Rams. But I think that domination is going to continue at Levi's South, and I think the 49ers are going to pick up a third straight win.
Yeah, luckily a home game there in week 5.
Yeah, exactly. So then you go on a second straight road game, right? I mean, this is out of the first 6 weeks, you know, you got 2 back-to-back road games for the 49ers. This one's, again, cross-country, Tampa Bay, probably going to be in that early window. You want to pull that back up? Is it calling for a 10 a.m. start, or is that going to be a 1 o'clock? Yep, look at that, 10 a.m. start time.
10 a.m. start at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
We know how West Coast teams fare in those East Coast 10 a.m. kickoffs. Tampa Bay, good football team last year, playoff football team last year. I think they actually got better this year. I think Tampa Bay wins that football game.
So we are at 5-2 through
4-2.
4-2 through 6 weeks. Yes. Okay.
4-2 through 6. Coming back home, Sunday Night Football, Atlanta. I think that's going to be a win for the 49ers. A nice dominant comeback after the loss of Tampa Bay. The extra time off for them, I think, is going to pay off. You know, those extra days for a lot of these veterans going to feel good. Then they got to go out on the road again. You know, then you're talking about you're going to another playoff team. You're going at Houston. I think that's going to be a loss for the 49ers. That to me is one of their toughest games of the season there in week 8 at Houston.
I think the Texans are the best team on the Niners schedule this year.
I think so. When you really look at it, compared to, well, them are the Buccaneers, I think, and they got to play them within a 3-week period. To me, that's really tricky for the 49ers.
That brings us to week 9, New York Giants. This might be Jackson Dart starting at this point of the season.
Yeah, but here we go again. Another away game for the 49ers following an away game, right? You're going at New York Giants, 10 a.m. start time, East Coast, all the same stuff. But this time I think the 49ers are going to figure out that 10 a.m. start time. Coming off a big loss at Houston, I think the 49ers do get a win against the Giants, although I am intrigued to see what happens with that Giants squad once they take it away from Russell Wilson and give it to Dart, because he showed flashes in the preseason. He looked like he might be the real deal.
Next up is the Los Angeles Rams for the second time, November 9th, week 10.
A true home game against the Rams, and this is going to go ahead and wrap up the season series against the Rams, and I see another win for the 49ers. I think the Niners go 2-0 against the defending NFC West champion Los Angeles Rams, and I think they do it in kind of impressive fashion, in just beat down fashion here at home. I love coming home after that, but then they got to go on the road again at Arizona. Divisional game, tough. I think they might lose that game at Arizona. I think Arizona's going to be one of those teams that keeps getting better throughout the season, right? The Niners aren't going to win every single one of their division games this year. This is going to be their first NFC West loss there in week 11 at Arizona.
After that week 10, if you sweep the Rams and you're 7-3 after 10 weeks, I think you got to be feeling pretty good about the 49ers' chances at winning the West.
Especially when you look at this schedule, right? I mean, you're talking Panthers, Monday Night Football at home. That seems like a win. Browns, even though you're at Cleveland, I still think that's one of those football teams that they're just not very good. I don't see them getting a whole lot better. That's a win. Tennessee.
Just don't rain.
Just don't rain.
Yeah.
Just don't rain in Cleveland. Even though it's a 10 a.m. start time at Cleveland, that whole thing, we're going to get that out of the way early. Those early at 10 a.m. start times, those losses are coming early in the season. Then you get a bye.
Yeah, bye week 14. But, that loss week 2 could be the best thing to happen to the 49ers, because you don't fall into that trap game. It really wakes you up. So slap in the face early in the season and keep you on that straight and narrow path the rest of the way.
That's how I see it too. I think the 49ers coming out strong, and then, at Seattle, and then losing real quick, be like, okay, hold up. Let's just pump the brakes. Let's get back to what we do best. And after the bye week, they come out and they're at home against Tennessee. I like what Ward brings, right? But will he have it figured out by week 15? Will the Titans be something? Because they haven't been in quite some time. So I don't think so. But that's one of those games too that's a little bit scary coming out of a bye against an inferior opponent. But I'm putting the 49ers down for a win right now. And then you got to go at Indianapolis, Monday Night Football. That's one of those weird things, right? When the lights come on, sometimes weird things happen in football. Sometimes ball bounces a weird way, gets a little slick because maybe it's a little bit wet. I think that's actually going to be the 49ers' final loss of the season. Right there at Indianapolis, week 16. They come back Sunday night, beat the Bears, finish the season against the Seahawks at home, and win there as well. We're talking 12-5 on the season. 49ers, NFC West champions.
12-5, San Francisco 49ers, NFC West champs, according to Nicholas Winker, a.k.a. the Winkstradamus, Nicholas Winkler. Love it. That's fantastic stuff there. 12-5. Croc, what do you think? You got the over-under on 12 wins for the 49ers this year.
I like that number. And, when you look at the back half of the 49ers games, I agree. There's a lot of winnable opportunities there. So the biggest thing that's going to determine if they can reach that 12-win number is, how healthy are they? Right now we see some areas where the 49ers maybe aren't the strongest on the defensive side of the ball. A lot of youthfulness and guys that you're going to hope get better throughout the season. On the offensive side of the ball, right now they've already kind of been banged up at receiver position. You see guys coming back, but how are guys going to hold up? Does Christian McCaffrey play the entire time? George Kittle, does he play the entire time? What's it going to look like with Trent Williams? So if there's anything that can derail that, I would say is that. But I do believe they have the team matched with, on paper, a schedule right now that says 12 wins. Now, if you would have gave them a first place schedule, like maybe they had last season or, like the year before or whatever, I would say it might be a little rough to win 12 games. But I think right now, we don't know what these teams are going to be. But as it looks right now, I really like the 49ers' chances of being able to get 12 wins during the season.
We're going to talk about Super Bowl champ and some of the other NFC, AFC players, some MVP candidates, some Rookie of the Year candidates for the 49ers and the league in the next segment. My final prediction, you say you like 12 wins for the Niners, Croc?
Yep. I love 12 wins. I believe with, again, on paper, looking at the schedule, 49ers over-under should really be set at like 11.5. What is it, like 10.5 though?
I think it's 10.5. Yeah. I like 10.5. I've actually got the 49ers at 10. I was kind of playing with a scenario, Croc, that we talked about yesterday with, what happens if the 49ers lose some early division games and maybe in the first 5 weeks, they're, 2-3.
If you lose at Seattle and at LA after 5 weeks, it's looking a whole lot different.
Right. But I think that,
and I do believe it'd be tough to sweep both Seattle and Los Angeles. And not to say that they can't.
Yeah.
But that seems like I don't think those are bad teams.
And that's I've kind of
not at all. And which typically divisional games, especially against a good team, right? Like if 49ers were in the AFC North and you're the Ravens and you have Cincinnati and you have Pittsburgh Steelers and you have Cincinnati Cleveland Browns, you may want to sweep Cleveland Browns, but it may be a split with Pittsburgh, who just find ways to win, and Cincinnati Bengals, who can get hot at any time. So I think the 49ers, they'd probably be happy with a split, but would be even better if they were to sweep those two opponents for sure.
And I think you start looking at that Texans game and, if the 49ers are 500 at that point, I'm okay with it too, because I think they can go on a run late in the season and you can get to that 10, 11 wins because the schedule really is much kinder in the second half. You got a lot of home games. You got that late week 14 bye to lick your wounds if you have any before the stretch run in the final month of the season. So I do like the 49ers going on a run late. And just a reminder, don't panic early in the season. If after September, you don't have Brandon Ayuk back yet, and things are just a little weird, and even sub 500, this team can definitely go on a run, and the schedule favors that for sure. And I think they will be in the mix for the division title when it's all said and done. Whether it's 10, 11, 12 wins, I don't see another 6-win season for the 49ers with this schedule, unless it's just another injury disaster. Next, let's talk Super Bowl champ, MVPs, rookies of the year. Next. Today's episode is presented by Yahoo Fantasy. The NFL season right around the corner. It's here tomorrow, Thursday. If you're listening to this on Wednesday, you don't have a lot of time to get into that fantasy league before the season starts. Everyone's researching, drafting, building their championship squads, adding players on waivers. You got your watch list going for the season when all heck breaks loose in week 1, as it always does every year. And it's all happening on Yahoo Fantasy. I'm playing Yahoo Fantasy. Croc, Wink. I'm in a league with Wink on Yahoo Fantasy. In fact, too, I'm playing in one of the new Yahoo Fantasy Guillotine League modes where the lowest scoring team gets eliminated weekly until only one team is left standing. You want to play instantly with friends, the new Draft with Friends mode. You prefer the classics, get your crew together and get that head-to-head private league going. No crew, no problem. Easiest way to play. If you've never played fantasy, you can jump in right now and join a public league at yahoofantasy.com/LockedOnNFL. The NFL season kicks off Thursday, September 4th, so don't wait. Start your league now. Draft at yahoofantasy.com/LockedOnNFL. It's your last chance before the season kicks off. yahoofantasy.com/LockedOnNFL. And with the season nearly here, FanDuel is making sure you're ready to kick off with a can't-miss offer right now. And this is the biggest offer I've ever seen from FanDuel. And they've been a sponsor of this podcast for a very long time. New customers can bet just $5 at FanDuel. And if your first bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Use on all the weekly lines that are already up. You can bet on all 17 games of the San Francisco 49ers 2025 season. You can bet on the Niners to win the Super Bowl. You can bet on any team to win the Super Bowl. Tons of season-long props and NFL futures. And it makes every game more exciting, whether you're watching your team or just keeping an eye on your fantasy lineup. It's quick, easy, the best way to add a little energy to your Sundays. So are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. All right, somewhere between 10 and 12 wins. I think that's a good season for the 49ers, especially in a weird transitional year. I think we're going to see a lot of rookies play, and hopefully we see those guys start to take steps in the second half of the year. Croc, I will go to you first. Do you have a Super Bowl projection? And is it the San Francisco 49ers winning the Super Bowl in 2025?
I wish it were the 49ers. I can't say the 49ers right now until I see a little bit more from the defense, right? Again, I'm thinking of all the youthful guys, and I believe next year we may view that Super Bowl window a little different, a little more different than we do this year. But Super Bowl, it's always hard to count Kansas City out because they just go to the Super Bowl all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard to see a team beat them. But I must say, I think this season is the year that Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens get over that hump and finally slay the dragon. They figure it out. They figure out how to get by Buffalo. They figure out how to get past Kansas City. And we see Baltimore in the Super Bowl. From the NFC side, I think it's a little bit more wide open. And there's a chance for the 49ers to get there for sure. Just need a lot of things to kind of go their way as opposed to just being the best team. The Philadelphia Eagles are going to be tough because they're a well-ran organization. I mean, they won a Super Bowl in 2018, 2019. They've been to the conference championship and the Super Bowl since then, and then another Super Bowl where they won. So almost like Kansas City, they're kind of turning into that team they're just built so well, and they have so many good players that it's hard to count them out. So I think they have to be the favorites coming out of the NFC, and I'm not sure there's any team that you can with confidence say, oh, this team can like just really compete with Philadelphia Eagles. I think that the NFC is a little weaker right now. That may change though. A year or so, maybe the Green Bay Packers, all of a sudden, they just get more of a consistent weapon that they can throw the ball to. They added pieces on defense with Michael Parsons, even though he's kind of got some injury things going on. All right. Jordan Love just more experience just playing and maybe he's just healthier. I could see a scenario where Green Bay kind of gets in the mix, but I see them in the same kind of level as like the 49ers where you just kind of don't know exactly what you're going to get. Philadelphia Eagles, I think we know exactly what we're getting.
Yeah, I think Ravens, Eagles are the two teams that are the best rosters top to bottom in each conference that you can poke the fewest holes in. So yeah, I got no problem with those picks. Wink, who you got?
Yeah, I love that Ravens pick in the AFC. I think they're going to be the AFC team in the Super Bowl. For the NFC, I mean, I think the Detroit Lions, even though they lost their coordinators, I still think
forgot about Detroit.
If they stayed healthy last year, I mean, you're talking about the most injured team in the NFL, and they still went on a huge run. Like, to me, I think Detroit's got to be kind of the early favorite in the NFC. I mentioned Tampa Bay earlier. I really like what they've done. I think a full season of Bucky Irvin in that backfield is going to do wonders for their offense. But I'm the voice of the fan, all right? The 49ers are going to go to and win the Super Bowl this year. Come on.
DeWitt is on fire. Wow.
Come on. Action News 8 Sport with Nick Winkler.
Wow.
I hate that I forgot about the Detroit Lions because that is true. I mean, that was a team that had 15 players from their defense on IR.
Crazy.
And they still were in the conference championship game.
I've still got the Packers.
Or divisional round. Excuse me. What was divisional
round? I've still got the Packers over the Lions.
Do you?
By the way, guys, the quest. We need to pause for a second. The quest for 6 is over, according to Winkstradamus.
Let's go.
That is a proclamation on the preseason predictions episode here on Locked On 49ers. So if those 49ers fans and those listeners tuned out after week 2 loss with the New Orleans Saints,
don't give up.
They missed something today.
Keep the faith.
That is a lesson.
Faithful.
I can't put Green Bay over. I can't put Green Bay over Detroit solely because I'm just more confident with what I'm getting out of Jared Goff. He's just been so consistent.
So good.
And, he's just, when he's on. He feels like a better version of Alex Smith. Like late in his career, Alex Smith, kind of what he was. Like you just knew that, okay, your team will be good. And he was good with Kansas City. And I feel like Goff is a better version of that.
I think that the Packers got a lot better, and I got to put my money where my mouth is because I made some big proclamations about how big of an addition Micah Parsons is. And by the way, he had he flew to have a second opinion on his back the day before the trade. There was a lot of vetting going on. There's no way the Green Bay Packers make that trade if they think there's wrong with his back that would prevent him from being that type of player. You got a first round wide receiver. The Packers won 11 games, even with Malik Willis playing quarterback, with Jordan Love hurt a little bit last year too. And I think the Lions got worse. They lost both coordinators, maybe the best offensive coordinator in the NFL, and they lost their center, which nobody talks about, Frank Ragnow. You look at the offense in Detroit when Frank Ragnow has been on and off the field. This is a major factor there too. So I think the Lions are worse and the Packers are better. So I do like the Packers to be the best competition for the Eagles and the 49ers in the NFC. I've got a dark horse team though in the AFC, and you can make a ton of arguments for the Chiefs always. I'm not going to pick the Chiefs. That's boring. The Ravens, I think, are the best team. The Bills, you could say a lot about the Bills getting over the hump and finally doing it. But man, we've already talked about the Houston Texans. I'm going to go with my dark horse team. It all comes together. They are one of the best defenses in the NFL. I'm a believer in D'Amico Ryans. I'm a big believer in CJ Stroud. He had a little bit of a plateau in year 2. I think he takes off again in year 3. So I've got Texans Super Bowl. Stroud joins the Joe Burrow stratosphere of quarterback and becomes the league MVP.
Did they do anything to improve the offensive line?
They did.
I mean, it was atrocious. And well, a lot of 49er fans believe that the 49ers had the worst O-line in the league. They did not. And it was nothing remotely close to some of the other guys, including the Houston Texans. I mean, it was bad. And it was so – and then they had a lot of injury issues last year as well. I guess that's the impressive thing that the quarterback CJ Stroud was able to do. Obviously, statistically, not a great season, but just figuring out how to win some ball games and get your team into the postseason. I think he did a terrific job of that. I mean, you lose Stephon Diggs, that's tough. You lose Tank Dell, that's tough. O-line terrible, that's tough. And they just figured out a way to kind of make it work. And I think a big part of that was CJ Stroud, although not the best version of himself, still trying to figure out ways to hold it together. And if they were able to improve on the O-line and you have a healthier receiver group, go along with Joe Mixon, I could see how that's a team that could just look a lot better than they did the year before.
If Mixon can even get back on the field, who knows?
Yeah, Chubb. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Yeah, we all know
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
We all know running backs don't matter. Go trade for Travis Etienne. Actually, he's in the division. You probably can't trade for Travis Etienne. Someone will be available if you need a running back.
Hey, don't sleep on the Broncos this year either.
I mean, the Broncos are kind of a similar vibe as far as young quarterback. I just like their quarterback better, and I think similarly, really good defenses there for Denver, and a lot easier path in the division for the Houston Texans too. Which is why I like a little bit more. So guys, what about the 49ers? Who do you like for the 49ers being the MVP of the team and the rookie of the year for the San Francisco 49ers? And any other, rookie of the year, MVP picks around the NFL too? What do you got?
MVP for the Niners is they paid him a bunch of money. Brock Purdy. He's going to have a great year. He's going to bounce back. It's going to be huge for him. Rookie of the year. I mean, Upton Stout, right? Like that's probably to me the guy who I think has the biggest chance to make an impact, especially early, playing in that nickel role. But I love CJ West, so I think I'm actually going to go with CJ West. He's not listed as a starter, but I think we're going to see a ton of him on that D-line.
I think the MVP conversation is between a few guys for the 49ers, George Kittle, Christian McCaffrey, Brock Purdy. I think if the 49ers are going to make a playoff run or just make the playoffs, I think Brock Purdy has to be the MVP. And that's him being able to overcome whatever adversity may strike with injuries or a young defense that isn't quite ready. If he's the MVP of this team, we will look at this team as being held together by him, and he will be a huge part of the reason the 49ers go on that run. So I would say if he's the MVP, great. If he's not MVP, and we're viewing George Kittle as MVP or Christian McCaffrey, that may not be good for the 49ers in the sense of their win losses at the end of the year. As far as rookies go,
if you're real quick, Croc, that's a great point because if one of your offensive playmakers and receivers is like playing at MVP level, you're hoping that your quarterback is probably looked at that way too, and will probably get the accolades over the other guy.
Right.
Yeah. Rookie, I'm excited to see Marques Sigle when he actually gets on the field, and
Yeah.
I'm hoping we get the second coming of Deshaun Goldston. Deshaun Goldston was my guy. Love watching him at the safety position, flying around, picking off passes, big hits. And obviously some of those hits are outlawed now, but I'd like to see Sigle do what I saw him do in the preseason. Didn't get the interception, but just flying around. Underrated player, Chase Lucas, and not a rookie.
Yeah.
Has nothing to do with anything we're talking about, but I don't know. He's a guy I feel like, dude, did he not do enough to carve out a role for himself with the 49ers and insert himself? So, yeah, not a rookie, not in any type of MVP conversation, but he may be one of the sneaky dark horse additions for the 49ers, even though he was on practice squad last year, but just additions to an active roster and potentially playing for the Niners. I'm excited to see Chase Lucas and what he does.
And by the way, is maybe the most likely award for a 49ers player to get is Christian McCaffrey Comeback Player of the Year?
There you go.
Oh,
good call.
That one out there. I'm going to go MVP for the 49ers, Fred Warner. He was on that path early last year before the ankle injury. He's going to be so important to have everybody together on a young defense. If that defense comes together and all the young players play well for the 49ers and they are that team late in the year, I think a lot of it is because of Fred Warner, and a lot of it be on his shoulders as the green dot guy on defense and being the leader of that unit. So I'm definitely looking at a big, important year for Fred Warner and the 49ers this year. And you took my CJ West, so I'm going to go to the first rounder, Mykel Williams. We didn't get to see him. Not a lot of hype with him right now. We didn't get to see him in the preseason, but I think he's going to be exactly what the 49ers need, an edge setter, and hopefully he's shows off his pass rush chops, when he's in the interior, because I don't know how many interior pass rushers the 49ers even have. So I think he's going to get a lot of those opportunities as well and be that guy. And, he doesn't have to get a ton of sacks, but 5 to 8 sacks and really be a monster on the edge as a run defender. And there's my rookie of the year for the San Francisco 49ers. It's going to be fun. I can't wait. It's almost here. And of course, Croc and I will have it covered for you every step of the way, pre-games and post-games, and we'll have crossovers. We're going to be talking with Corbin Smith of Locked On Seahawks tomorrow, our first crossover of the year. That means the season is upon us. And of course, Winky Wednesdays with my guy, Nicholas Winkler, and of course, all the listeners out there. So make sure you're subscribed up on YouTube and everywhere you get your podcasts. And Croc and I back tomorrow right here, Locked On 49ers.
The Wink is on fire.